At around 2:50 a.m. on Monday, April 2015, I was running near the Cambridge office, separated from the finish line of the Boston Marathon by 2.5 miles of parks, city streets, and the iconic Charles River. Right around 3, I was flooded with texts, notifications, and soon-to-be messages that all read, "Are you okay? Are you fine? You are running at the marathon, are you?" Now, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind that I was only a few miles away from a lifelong goal and dream of completing the Boston Marathon. So I ran through the concurrent gravel as the pebbles and rocks of the road began to uncharacteristically steepen and steepen. Boom! A red-hot ball of fury erupts in the early morning sky, building bricks and rocks fly into the air as screams of terror began to echo throughout the city of Boston. I fall to the ground, shot with a combination of anxiety, fear, and utter weakness. That night, I later learned 2 bombs had detonated, killing 3 people and injuring 183 more. If this attack during the Boston Marathon was directed at anyone, it was directed at the human race. Yes, because the list of marathon runners was composed from ages 18 to 83, all of which were from 96 different countries, all of which were represented by their own flags. But in the midst of this tragedy, there is one unmistakable beauty. Yes, a treasure, because immediately after the explosions, several people ran. Not away from the explosion, but towards them. These people had no way of knowing if there was going to be another bomb, another explosion, more danger awaiting them at the finish line. They simply saw those that were on the ground and ran to help. In fact, as these people were helping, cities and hospitals across the town had to close down because there were too many people trying to help. This first-hand account of the tragedy known as the Boston Marathon bombing by one Adrian F. Ward reveals and resurfaces an ancient philosophical question. Are we humans, by nature, good or evil? For over 2,000 years, science and philosophy seem to answer the question. We are by nature evil. We are born only to serve our self-interest. But the question has come back, stronger than ever before. Because these acts in Boston, they clearly defy what we had originally concluded. The runners that night had no self-interest in helping those that were on the ground. Yet they still ran to help. In fact, scientists and psychoanalysts all agree that the only reason humans do anything of any benefit toward one another, such as lending a helping hand or simply being kind, is a result of societal factors such as consequences or peer pressure. But again, these people in Boston had no institution forcing them to do anything and no people watching. Yet they still ran to help. So the question still stands. Are we humans, by nature, good or evil? To answer this question, we will run through the marathon of history. And our starting line begins in the oldest of ages, 250 BC, ancient Greece. Philosophers such as Plato, Augustine, and Hobbes begin the historical discussion. Plato fires off first, saying that all humans make decisions, and in this decision-making process, there is no account of the good or the harm that we do to one another, and therefore we are evil. His peers Augustine and Hobbes later build on this theory, and they add that all humans are by nature selfish, savage, and cruel. Centuries pass as these philosophical theories are proven correct by history. But as we continue to run through our marathon, we find that human action itself pledges a different case. The 20th and 21st century surge upon the world as human dignity is put to the ultimate test. October 19th, 1929. The world economy crashes as millions of people lose their jobs, millions more die, and World War II implodes. In Germany, 6 million Jewish families, little boys and little girls, some unable to speak yet, have their lives literally sucked away. But in the midst of this darkness, hope somehow still shines through. In one of the best acts of humanity ever, individually, on December 24th, 1939, a German woman by the name of Harissa Vencic is cooking up her last can of stew on Christmas morning. In Germany, in her cabin, she hears a loud machine gun firing, killing thousands of Germans and Americans alike, one of which was her own son. As she sits down, she hears a loud knock on the door and she opens it. She sees a young, cold group of American soldiers who had lost their way. While these exact men may have been the people who killed her own son, she saw past their race. She opened her home to them. And as they sat down, making something out of nothing, another knock is heard. She opens it again, and a group of German soldiers collapse on the ground. Through ultimate willpower, she carries them and puts them on the same table as the Americans. The three groups dine as one, from human to fellow human. Afterwards, the Germans actually help the Americans find their way to camp, and everyone survives. Immediately after the war, these individual acts of human beings come together to form the United Nations, denying any repeat of what had just occurred in World War II. With society flourishing, a study from Yale and Harvard found that the majority of people are now making decisions that actually benefit society. So ladies and gentlemen, if we combine all the theories, all the tests, all the studies, all the data, we come to one clear conclusion. Humans are by nature good. We are born with the liberties and virtues of good, yet through the effects of society, we begin to make differing decisions. But just because we are good does not mean we act as such. Because remember, evil can still flourish while good men do nothing. So we must continuously persevere. We must continuously fight evil to become good. Because in the words of Martin Luther King Jr., if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you must keep moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, continue to move forward. Continue fighting, continue flying, continue running, continue walking, continue crawling to be good. Because from racism to equality, from discrimination to acceptance, civilization to chaos, success to failure, love to hate, from war to peace, your willpower to be good defies all. So my fellow marathon runners, rise to your nature of good. No mountain can stop your journey. No cloud can stop your vision. And no gate can stop your drive. It's 3:30 a.m. and I finally crossed the finish line. As I look around, nobody's here. I take one more quick glance. Not one body was left behind. Thank you.